So I wanted to talk about growth and what that looks like because I think we've been given a, a false perception of what growth actually is and what it feels like. And so I was in session with a client and I found myself giving this metaphor for growth, and I wanted to share it with you all live. So, one of the things that I know about growth is that there is grief sometimes in that growth process. And in order for us to grow, we have to be rubbed to a place where we're forced to grow, or life has said to us, hey, it's time for you to break the cycle and move into a different space, a different way of being. And oftentimes this looks like us becoming unattached or letting go of what we thought the outcome was going to be. And this feels very hard for us. This feels very uncomfortable. We've been taught to run away from discomfort, and we've been taught that being uncomfortable is not supposed to be part of the journey, when in reality, discomfort is actually the gift. And if we are looking to grow, we're going to have to be uncomfortable. And I don't know if you can see behind my head, but these are my 3 freedom manifestations, mindset manifestations. And one of them talks about problems don't exist. They're just growing opportunities. And this one talks specifically about if we're going to grow, then there's a need for friction. And I believe that friction is that level of discomfort, is that level of trusting in the unknown, trusting that you're going to get through this, even when it feels like you're dying, even when it feels like you're on the steps of death and that you just can't go anymore. There is growth if you actually allow yourself to find the gift in this. So oftentimes we're taught to ask, well, why me? Why is this happening to me? Ugh, why do I keep going through this? Why do I keep doing the same things over and over again? When in reality, what you want to ask is, what is this trying to teach me? How am I growing from this? How am I being stretched? And what are the lessons that I'm learning in being in this stretch? What tools am I acquiring because of this? This is how to deal with growth. So if you think of growth as this person and they're dirty, they're smelly, and they come knocking at your door. And when they knock at your door, you're either going to open up the door and let them in, or you're going to close the door on them. And oftentimes when something shows up smelly and dirty, we get really uncomfortable with that. We want to clean it, we want to fix it, or we just don't want no parts of it. We don't want to deal with it at all. But here's what it looks like when you actually surrender to growth. You open up the door and you let that dirty, smelly growth just come right on in. And growth often shows up in problems, triggers, the dirty, unsmelly, uncomfortable parts of us. They show up in those ways. So if we open up the door and we let it come in, and we invite it to sit down at the dinner table or on the couch, and we ask it, wow, how can I help you? What would you like? Maybe you offer them some tea. Maybe you offer them something to drink. Maybe you offer food. Maybe they just need a bath. Maybe you offer them that, right? So when you sit and you ask those problems, how can I help you? Let it reflect back to you and answer. Sometimes you may not even know what the answer is. And sometimes the I don't know pops up, and that's okay. How can I help you? Oftentimes looks like just sitting and being present and acknowledging their presence, right? So say you fed growth and you've allowed them to take a shower, or you've allowed them to just be comfortable. you then give yourself the opportunity to now sit there and have a conversation with growth. And you can say, hey, let's talk. What's been going on? What are you here to teach me? Right? If you imagine growth as a person who now is sitting in your living room or your kitchen or your dining room table, and instead of being afraid of how dirty and how grungy and how smelly they are, you've now sat there and allowed yourself to have compassion. And that's how we want to respond when problems arise or discomfort arises, is with compassion, with grace. When we have the ability to see growth beyond the problems that it's serving us, there is a dying process that usually happens. And that dying process is our ability to trust that in death, there's a beginning, there's a new beginning, that we're going to be safe, that nothing bad is going to happen. So there's no need to fear. We just have to be okay with getting to the other side, seeing growth beyond how we want growth to look. And if we can get there, then we can step into that beautiful womb of being birthed into trusting in the unknown. Growth is not pretty. It's not this packaged boa. It's not this gift that, is beautifully packaged and placed up under the tree. Oftentimes, growth is something that looks like shit. And if we allow ourselves to find the gift in that, that is where the greatest reward comes from. So today, be encouraged. If you're in a space and growth is knocking at your door, problems are knocking at your door as a way of growing opportunities, triggers are knocking at your door as a way of growing opportunities, let it in, invite it in, surrender to it, talk to it, have a conversation with it, ask it, how can I help you? What are you here to teach me? And let it reflect back to you answers that's going to allow you to shift and put you in a space where you can be grateful that this problem, this trigger, this gift has shown up in a way to allow you to grow. So definitely grow today. You are friction worthy, and step into that beautiful space and surrender. Surrender. All right. Peace.